Do not move to Tucson, Arizona unless you can handle these 10 facts. My name is Garced. I'm a licensed real estate agent in Tucson, Arizona. I'm making these videos for you and hoping in return that you would like to work with me because I work with tons of clients, mainly military that do not have the choice of moving to Tucson, Arizona, but also a lot of non-military as well. These are the 10 facts that you will need to be aware of before you move to Tucson. Let's start with number 1, politics. Arizona is kind of like a swing state. Sometimes you'll see yourself in pockets of like blue areas, and the more of like outskirts, you're going to find a lot more red. That's pretty typical in any city. But sometimes that red, I have heard some conversations where people say that being that we're so close to the border, I've heard people say that they like to shoot at people that they do not know that are on their land. And I heard that recently when I was more of like an inner city area of Tucson, but that was scary. I'm from New York and we don't do that. So anyway, swap between red and blue, but that's where it is. It's not like one city that totally leans one way or the other. Like if you go to 4th and Congress, you'll definitely feel more of like a blue vibe, but really just depending on where you're at, it doesn't really go one way or the other, which could be good, could be bad, depending on what you're looking for. But I do want to mention that because politics are very important to some people, and I've gotten a lot of those questions, so I hope that helps. Number 2, customer service at restaurants lacks. The food at restaurants here is great, but the customer service, be prepared to spend at least another 30 minutes every single time for the majority of the restaurants that you're gonna go to, because the server's just like, they don't care. They're just like, it's almost as if, hey, if you want to walk out before we get to you, walk out. They spend so long. It takes a very, very long time for you to get your bill, at the end of the meal, and they might check in on you, maybe, during the course of your meal. You most likely will have to flag people down. Number 3 is allergies. I find this kind of interesting because I always had allergies growing up. So I have a little bit of allergies here. It's almost as if my allergies went down, but my asthma, I got diagnosed with asthma while being here, and yay me. So I feel like those that have never had allergies, when they move to Tucson, Arizona, they then have allergies. And like me, those that had allergies in another city and state, when they move here, it actually clears up a little bit, but you might get asthma. So yay us. Number 4 is the driving time. Depending on where you're at, you're going to want to make sure that you live close to your friends, close to work, close to whatever, unless you really love driving. Our traffic isn't really too bad, but we're just so wide, like we are a small town of 1 million people. That's what they say, but it takes so long to get from like one side to the other because you just have to hit every red light, whether you're going north, south, east, west. However, if you're on the far west side of Tucson, there is that highway that you can get places so much faster. So when looking at areas, make sure you let me know as your real estate agent to be able to guide you in the right direction. Hey, how long is the commute going to be here? What do you most likely like to do on the weekends? What do you do for fun? I'll help you get that lifestyle feel for each of the neighborhoods that we look at. Number 5 is if you're a motorcycle rider, or if you know of someone, say your spouse is, your kids are, whatever, Tucson is in the top 10 cities of motorcycle deaths in the nation. So maybe increase your life insurance, but definitely be careful. I would kind of suggest maybe putting the hobby down for a bit, or down. I probably used the wrong word for that, but maybe just go on the racing tracks here instead, because it's safer to ride a motorcycle on the racing track than it is in Tucson traffic. So even though the scenery is nice, I don't think that's worth your life. But that's just me. And I'm not really a big fan of motorcycles in general. I've seen so many accidents in Tucson. My wife used to ride and she no longer does. She does have a neck injury, but there's just been too many close calls. It's not worth it. Your life is not worth it. So that's number 5. Sorry that that's a negative one. Number 6 is the airport. Tucson airport is nice and small, so you don't have to get there like 101 hours in advance, which is really nice. You do have to plan for the drive to the airport, because it's all the way on the south side. But once you're there, it's super, super fast. I really like it. It's only 2 terminals. Now, on the con side of that is because we have a small airport, it's going to be more expensive, but we do have Phoenix if you wanted to drive an hour and a half up north to get a cheaper flight. I don't think that it's worth it at that point because Phoenix airport I don't like the layout at all. And even though they say that they're the friendliest airport, they're not. They're so not. But whatever. So at least Tucson, nice and quaint, nice and small. You're in and out really fast. And the parking is pretty cheap too. Number 7 is something that I still have not gotten used to in the 5.5 years that I've lived here. And that's the scenery, or more so the colors of the scenery. I guess I just got used to green. and I am not used to the brown yet. So sometimes it does snow. Sometimes I'll look out and see white, very rarely, but sometimes, and we do get hail. But overall, I kind of think that Tucson's like a little, okay, I'm gonna say it. I think Tucson's a little bit ugly, guys. We have to combat the ugliness with like decorative rock and like cacti, which cacti are obviously green, but just like trees, but there are just so many weeds and dirt that I don't know. I think Tucson could look a little bit prettier. Now, of course, I'm making such a generalization. I get it. And I don't mean this to be negative. I'm just used to green and like flowers and like pretty and like pink and orange. And I always get reminded of this one conversation that I had with one of my first clients. They were investors. It was two friends, two girls looking to invest together from afar. They were going to be looking for a multifamily. And I went to the house that they were interested in, and I'm FaceTiming them. And their friend is on the ground, boots on the ground with me. So the friend is FaceTiming with one of the girls, and I'm FaceTiming with the other. So that way they have like their own opinions, whatever. So I forget if it was on the other girl's phone or on mine, but one of them was like, "Oh my God, Tucson looks like that? Tucson's so ugly." I was like, I guess, I'm not trying to like upsell anything. I'm trying to tell you the straight truth. And obviously, whether you think something is pretty or ugly, that's a personal opinion. This is not a fact. But the fact is that it is very brown. So if you like brown, excellent. If you like dirt, excellent. If you don't need green in your life, woohoo! Like Tucson is the spot for you. The eighth fact that I want to talk to you about is the water. Now, it doesn't take a genius to know that Tucson is in a desert and we are losing some water. Lake Mead is drying up. Actually, I think it's already dried up. But what people don't know is that the majority of Arizona's water is actually from agriculture. That accounts for a good 75% of Arizona's water. So I think before people are left without water, it's going to be more so crops being left without water. So I don't think, personally speaking, again, I'm not a water specialist, but I don't think that Tucson and Arizona in general is going to run out of water in the very near future. I think the first thing that would happen is there are going to be budget cuts restraining the amount of agriculture in Tucson, and most likely crops are going to be put somewhere else, grown somewhere else in another state. However, that is still a concern. Number 9 is that Arizona is a retirement state. A lot of people come here to retire. There are a lot of snowbirds, which in turn leads to not the safest driving streets. So just in the 5 years that we've been here, my wife has been rear-ended. Her car has been struck while she was at a CVS. It was a hit and run. That was by, an older lady who then claimed to the police that she hit her, even though Britt was in the CVS. We see the footage of her just like swiping the car and then just going. Anyway, needless to say, that one older lady was involved in 2, I think maybe even 3 accidents that same day, and claimed that it was someone else's fault. I personally have been at the DMV where I have witnessed people that I think maybe just shouldn't be having their driver's license anymore, where they failed the vision test. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, and then bitched to get the manager over to pass the vision test and have the DMV manager guide her through the vision test. Well, DMV, we call it the MVD here, but you get the point. And so overall, it's a tough subject, I joke about it a lot, but I can imagine that when I'm older, I also will not want to give up my car keys. It's giving up your autonomy. I get it, but I do have to warn you of that they make up for a lot of the drivers on the streets, and it can be dangerous. So keep that in mind. I do suggest decreasing your vehicle deductible because chances are you're gonna have something happen with cars out here. I've never had so many issues with vehicles until being out here. But of course, I'm not a CPA, I'm not your financial advisor, I'm not your insurance agent. This is YouTube. So do not hold me to anything related to that. Before we get to the 10th point, I do these videos again because I want to tell you specifically what my opinion is of Tucson and what other people's opinions have been, stories have been. I'm here to share you the inside scoop because I want to let you know that it's not always just rainbows and butterflies. I tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. I do that because that's my job. I'm a real estate agent. Hopefully you're a real estate agent. I make these videos so that way you can see my personality, you can see what I'm like. So in that way, when we meet, as I start helping you purchase a house, you know exactly how I think. So in that way, we can get along best. Any questions that you have, I want you to feel comfortable asking me because I have heard all the questions, believe me, and I'm here for it. I get reach outs from this channel every single day of people asking me, hey, can you be my real estate agent? Hey, can you help me sell my house, buy my house, or refer me to an agent in another city where I'm moving to, or my mom is moving to, or my sister's moving to? I'm here for it. I'm game. I love helping you. And with helping you with being your advisor when it comes to helping you buy a house and sell a house is telling you the truth. Now, a lot of these were just personal opinions, so take that with a grain of salt. If you love Brown, again, you know, you're gonna love Tucson, which is great. If you want more about Tucson, text me. I am one text away, I'm one call away. I prefer text, but the best way though to book a call with me is through my Calendly below. If you already know that you're gonna be moving to Tucson, book a call that guarantees you a call on my calendar. We could take the next step and I can start working for you immediately. So here we go, wrapping up with the 10th fact that you need to know before moving to Tucson is that I am the top 1.5% of real estate agents in my entire brokerage. So give me a call. Oh my gosh, that is the truth. But also I will give you a 10th reason or a 10th fact is that Tucson just keeps growing wider instead of taller. I don't know whether you're coming from a city or not, but I'm used to cities growing up instead of growing wide. Here, we're growing wide because it's a wild, wild west. We have space. So that's what we're doing. We're going north, we're going south. We're closing that divide up between Tucson and Phoenix. We're closing that divide up between Tucson and Vail, Sahuarita, you know, growing south as well. We're growing, you know, west a little bit, not so much east. But when it comes to the traffic again, when it comes to driving, that's only really going to make driving longer. So keep that in mind, but also keep in mind that yes, I am the top 1.5% of eXp Realty agents and got the little trophy here to prove it. I would love to be of service to you. Shoot me a text. And if you want more information about Tucson, keep on watching these videos. I'll see you in the next one.